Alright, so today we are going to discuss about grid property. Okay, so let me just start my whiteboard. It will be blackboard actually. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about today we have to discuss about display grid. Okay, display grid we have to study in CSS. Okay, in CSS. So what is grid? When we talk about grid in CSS, okay, so grid means it is what? Two-dimension layout. Okay, two-dimension layout we can say. Okay, so what is the mean of two-dimension layout? Means you can arrange the items. You can arrange the items in rows and column. Okay, so it provide to arrange the items in the form of rows and columns. Okay, so for example, when we talk about flex, when we talk about flex, so flex is used to arrange the item either in row, either it can arrange the items. Items means boxes. Okay, you can say boxes. It can arrange the boxes inside the container within the row direction or column direction. Okay, column direction. But if we talk about grid, if we talk about grid, so it can arrange the items in row direction and column direction. Okay, so what's the difference? Difference is this. This is the difference. Here you can manage either in row or column. But in grid layout, you can manage row and column both. Okay, so we are not understanding. Please try to understand us in better way. So let me explain you. For example, if you have items, so you can keep your items like this. Okay, so all items are what direction? This is suppose column direction. So all the items in what? Like column directions. Okay, if we talk about grid layout, so in the grid layout, and you can consider this is what? One container. These all the items are arranged in column direction inside a container. Okay, and we have seen like most of the container properties in flexbox. And if we talk about grid, so in grid basically we can design our layout, we can design our items in two direction means row and column both. How how we can arrange in both direction? Suppose here is what? Here is your one item. Okay, and this is your another item. Okay, and next you have another item, and you have another items as well. Okay, so you are arranging the items in which direction? In column as well. So you can consider this is one column, this is another column, and this is row. This is one row, this is another row, and this is another row. Means in columns as well as you are arranging in what? Rows. But here you are arranging all the items in either row or columns. Okay, but here you can arrange in row and column both. Okay, if we talk about flexbox, so it is best. Okay, so it is best to arrange okay items in row or column direction, right? Okay, and if we talk about this, so have you seen spreadsheet, guys? Have you seen spreadsheet? Nothing but Excel sheet. On Excel sheet, what you will see, for example, let me show you. If you will see the Excel, so in Excel, what you will see? You will see this is what? Row, and this is what? Column. So this is what? Row and column layout. Row as well as column layout. So this is known as grid. This is what? Grid layout, where you can see all the columns and all the rows, right? And if I show you here, okay, so this is what? Let me show you here. If I write here details, if I click here, so what you can see, this is what? Flex. And flex is what? What is the direction? Direction is what? Row. Okay, so this layout is what? Row layout. And if you want to see the grid layout, so you can consider this. This is what? Grid layout. So here you can see columns. Here you can see columns. I mean, this is what? Rows, and this is what? Columns. This is column, this is column. Okay, like your phone gallery. In your phone gallery, what photos you can see? Like we see the photos in grid form. So that is nothing but grid layout. So that kind of layout we can achieve. That kind of layout we can achieve with the help of grid, right? And we can say if you want to design the complex layout, okay, it is best to design complex layouts, right? So complex layout, how? With rows and columns, right? Okay, so when we talk about grid layout, so it is also having two properties. Okay, so for example, when you create the container, okay, when you create the container, so you will have some container properties. Okay, there are some properties which you can apply on the container, and there are certain properties which you can apply on the items. Items are nothing but children. Okay, so we can say container grid property we have, as we have seen in flexbox. So we have container properties, And same here, we have container grid property and children grid property. Okay, children grid properties. Okay, let's discuss about what's the how we can, what are the containers grid properties are available. So here we have some property. If I talk about, we will implement it with code as well. So don't worry about it, about that. Please try to understand this only. Okay. So we can say container property, container property. Okay. Or sometime we can call it, what we can call it, parent property. Right. Are you guys there in meeting? Yes or no? Everyone is silent. Okay. Okay. So first property we can consider, which is, first is display. Okay. Display is what? Display grid. If you want like your container behave like a grid, so you have to mention the property which is display grid. Okay, earlier we studied about flexbox. So we want our container behave like a flexbox. So we need to mention container property which is flex. So same here we will mention display is what? Grid. Okay, second is what? Grid template column. Okay, it is not very hard, it is very easy, but have patience to understand it. Grid template columns. So here we have to mention like how many columns you want, and what is the size of the columns. So what we mention here, number of columns. Okay, so number of columns we mention here, right? And third property we can say, which is grid template rows. Grid templates rows. So here basically we mention how many rows we required, number of rows. Okay, and also we mention size, columns, and size of each column. Okay, suppose sometime I want to create layout something like this. Okay, I want to keep this in two columns. This this particular container I want to expand it within two rows, and this is what. So if we want this kind of layout, so we have to tell it clearly, right? So how many, what we can say, how many rows we have here? This is complete one row. Okay, so this is what? Row 1, and this is what? Another row, row 2, and this is what? Another row. So we have to mention like how many rows we want and how many columns. Okay, I will tell you later this. Don't try to understand it right now. But assumes like before creating the layout, we have to mention like this many rows we want, this many columns we want, right? And size of the column, size of the rows. Okay. right? And after that we have grid gap. We have one more property which is grid gap. Okay, so if you will add grid gap, so it will add space. What it will do? It will add space space between grid eyes. Okay, okay. So let's try to create something. Okay. For example, if I want to create a layout something like this, let me just, if I want to create a layout something like this. Okay, so what I want, this is what, how many rows we have? This is R1, R2, and this is what? R3. Three rows we have, right? And what I want, this second row, I want to divide into three columns. Okay, so this layout I want. Okay, so how many columns we have? We have column 1, okay, and we have, this is column 2, and this is what? We have column 3. So this layout I want. Okay, so how we can achieve this layout? So first of all, we need container. Okay, we need container. This is what? This is nothing but container. Okay, this is container. And how many grid we have? How many grid we have? Grid means, like for example, if you are seeing here, okay, if you are seeing here, okay, okay, so this is what container, and this is what grid 1. Okay, this is grid 2, and this is grid 3, and this is grid 4, and this is grid 5. So inside one container, how many grids we have? Please respond, guys.
5.
Yes, 5 grids we have inside the container. So in HTML, what we will do? We will create the container and 5 items we will create. Okay, how many container? One container and 5 items, right? One container with 5 items I'll create. Okay, so let me just open what we have to open, VS Code. Okay, so let me just open the VS Code, and let me go to the file, and we will go to the folder, and this is what our CSS, and this is day 9. Okay, so here we will write our code. First file I'll create, which is index.html. Okay, so here if you want boilerplate, so you can press exclamation to get the boilerplate, or otherwise you can press, you can type here HTML:5. So you will get the boilerplate, right? And here you can change the title, which is grid layout. Okay, all right guys, please give me the theme suggestion if you want to change the theme. So how you can change the theme of this VS Code? I want to know whether this theme is good or should we move to another theme. So I have different options of theme. I have this GitHub light. Do you like this theme, or should we keep dark theme? Tell me guys.
Dark theme, sir.
Or is it better? Or we have other options as well. We have Dracula as well. Dracula soft. Is it fine? And
Yes, sir, this is good.
we have one more Dracula theme only. This is what originally we were using. I think this is best, isn't it? Okay, so it doesn't matter which theme you are using. So what we have to do basically, what we have to do, see, we have to create, what we have to create? We have to create one container, and inside one container, 5 divs, 5 items we have to create. So what I will do, so I will write here dot container. Okay, and if you want to write inside the container, just give greater than symbol. What we are using? We are using VS Code emits. Okay, otherwise you can write it manually, but as a developer you should try to use the shortcuts. Okay, and here also you will use, what we will use, we will write here dot item 1. Item 1 means this dollar. Okay, not item 1, but we will give item and hash item dollar. Okay, and multiply it by how many divs? 5 divs. Okay, and content, what should be the content? Content should be like box dollar. Okay, so press enter now. When you press the enter, what you will get? You will get this. Otherwise, if you want to write manually, so what you will do, you will write first div and you will write the class, and inside the class you will write the container, then you will create this div and you will write class item, then you will write id item 1, like that you will do. But it's better to use VS Code emits. So what emit I have written? I have written this emit container dot container. Why I am using dot? Dot means class. So when you write dot container, so your div get the class of container, and then what we have to use? Greater than symbol. Okay, so see, if you want to write the comment, what you have to use? If you want to write the comment, control and forward slash you will use. And here whatever you will write here, it is not readable by the browser. Browser will not read this. Browser will read this content, but browser will not read this content. Why? Because this is the comment, and comment is for developers. Okay, comment is read for developers only. It is not readable by the browser. So that's why, for understanding purpose, I'm writing here what emits we have used. We have used this emit, which is dot container. Okay, dot container greater than. Okay, and this is what class? Greater than means inside the container div. So this is, we have one more class which is item class, and we have id, and id, for id what we use hash. Okay, and what is this? Item dash, and it is changing 1 2 3 4 up to 5. So here what I will write, if it is changeable, then I will write here dollar. And if you want to write this content, box 1, box 2, so use curly braces. Inside the curly braces, you will write box hyphen dollar, and dollar will replace by the 1, 2, 3, okay, till how much it will replace. The number you will multiply it. If you will multiply it 5, so all the dollars will replace by the, all the dollars will go up to the 5. From 1 to 5 it will move. Is it clear, guys? Is this part clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we have already installed one extension which is Go Live. Okay, if you haven't installed the Go Live server, so what you can do, you can go to the extension and here you can search what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Live server. And live server is used to show the preview of your code. Okay, my internet is not working properly, that's why it is taking time to search, but let's leave it. You can search it later. It is taking time, but you can see. Okay, once you will install the live server, what will happen? Here you can see one option which is Go Live. So once you will click on Go Live, it will display the output here. Okay, it is displaying the output. Okay, but it is not looking like this. It is not looking like this, but we have to convert it into like this. Okay, so whenever you are creating one div, whenever you are creating your div, so your div is nothing but, this is what container div, na? So your div is nothing but, okay, just let me write the CSS so that you can understand. So here I am creating one CSS file as well, style.css. Okay, and once you created external CSS, if you are creating separate file of CSS, that is known as external CSS. Let's link the external CSS in HTML. So how we will link? Either top of the title or bottom of the title, anywhere you can mention link tag. When you click on link, so in REL it is telling the relationship which is style sheet, and here you need to mention the path of the style sheet, like at which location it is there. So dot forward slash, and this is what style.css. Okay, and here you can check the output. Okay, so how you will check whether your CSS is working or not? How you will check? So you can give the body color, you can check the body, change the body color, like background color red or whatever you want to give. So it is changing, background color is changing, means CSS is applying on our document. Okay, so let me give some default property first. First, global property, which is padding is what? 0. So I don't want to give any default padding, and I don't want to give any margin. Margin is nothing but space outside the box, outside the items, and padding is what? Space. Okay, space what? Space inside the container. Okay, what's the padding and what is the margin? Let me tell you. So for example, this is your content, and here you have written some text. So if you will give the padding, so what is the padding? The space between from border to your content. This is what? Border to content. This is what? Padding. Okay, so padding 0 means this padding will remove. And margin is what? For example, this is your document. This is your document, and from document to your container. Okay, from document to your container, whatever the space is there, this is known as margin. Okay, we can say padding is what? Inside space, and this is what? Outside space. So we want to remove all the space inside and outside both. Okay, am I audible, guys? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm just removing the padding and margin. So padding is what? Inside space. Margin is what? Outside space. Okay. All right. Now what I will do, I will just write here one more property, which is box sizing, border box. Okay. Box sizing is what? Border box. Now let's target our container. Okay. We are not able to see the container because our container is what? Invisible. So if you will see the container, so here we have our container. So we will target this container. How we will target? We will just write here dot container. So when you write the dot container, nothing will happen. So if you will try to give border is what? 1 pixel solid and red. So you will see this is your container. Okay, this is your container. Okay, so let's give some height to your container. Height is what? Let's say 100 VH. What's the mean of VH? What's the mean of VH?
Viewport height.
Yes, VH means viewport height. Okay, so here also we will write width is what? 100 VW, viewport width. Okay, all right. So this is how we have created one container. Okay, so I have said if you want to apply, if you want to convert it into grid, so you have to write here display grid. Okay, let's write display grid. So let me just make this container as display grid. So we will write here display grid. So see, are you seeing the changes? Now it is behaving like a grid container. So if I will right click and go to the inspect, okay, so this browser is not suitable for like learning HTML. So what I will do, I will open it into the different browser. Okay, the recommendable browser is Chrome browser. So right click and copy the path, copy the URL, and just go to the Chrome browser, search here Chrome, and I hope many of the students use the Chrome browser only, so that is good. Just paste here the path. What is our file name? Index.html. So it is coming here. Now just right click and go to the inspect. Okay, so here you will see, okay, try to observe here. Let me just keep it here down. Okay, so here you will see what we are getting. We are getting this grid. Okay, we are getting this grid, and this grid lines are coming. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, and line, okay, till line 5 it is showing, right? So if I remove the grid from here, if I remove the grid, so just observe here, if I remove, if I comment this display grid, so now it is not showing. Now it is not showing, and it is not displaying, it is not displaying boxes. So if you will write here display grid, so it is changing into what? Grid, and here grid option is also coming, right? So see, whenever we create the grid container, so some grid lines will come. Okay, what do you mean by grid lines? Let's try to understand that grid lines. Okay, suppose this is your container. Okay, and this is what? Rows. Okay, so this is what? R1 row, this is what? R2 row, and this is what? R3 row. So see, rows are different and grid lines are different. So if your rows are 3, how many total rows are? 3. Total rows are what? 3. So if I ask you how many grid lines, how many grid lines are there? So row plus 1. So it will be 4. How it will be 4? So see, this is what? Your row 1, row 2 and row 3. But if I talk about grid line, so try to observe here, what are the grid lines? This is what? This is one grid line, L1. This is another grid line, L2. This is another grid line, L3. And this is another grid line, which is L4. So how many total grid lines are there? 4. How many rows are there? 3 rows. Okay, if I talk about columns, okay, so this is what? Column 1, column 2 and column 3. So how many total columns are there? Total columns are 3. So how many grid line will be there? Grid line will be 4. Are you understanding? One more than the column. How it is? Because one grid line will start from here. Okay, line 1. This is what? Line 2. This is what? Line 3. And this is what? Line 4. Okay, here also you can assume, here it is what? One line. This is line 2. L1 here, L2 here, L3 will come here, L4 will come here, L5 will come here, and L6 will come here. So how many boxes are there? 5 boxes. 5 boxes means 5 row. And how many grid lines? 6 grid lines. So let me just inspect it one more time. So if you will click on grid, so you will see grid lines. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is not showing because of this negative numbering. But you can assume 6 is also there. Okay, 6 is also there. Okay, so we have defined this container as a grid. Now what we have to do next? What we have to do next? Okay, so after defining this, okay, after creating this container as grid, now you have to mention how many grid columns you want, how many grid rows you want. So you have to mention the number, as well as you have to mention what size of each row and each column. So what you will write here, we will write here grid template column GT. Okay, let's mention row GTR. GTR means grid template rows. So just click on it. Okay, and here it will ask you how many, what will be the size of each row. So if you want to keep 3 rows, so you can write like 100 pixel, 200 pixel and 300 pixel. Okay, so as you can see, this is taking, okay, let me just call this box property also. Let me call this box class. Okay, box class, so that I can apply the border and you can see properly. So I'm calling here dot box, and I'm writing here background color is what, not background color but border. Border is what, 2 pixel, solid and blue. Okay, it is little tricky, but try to understand, you will get to know, you will get the idea. So the id name is item, it is not box, it is what, item. Okay, so this is coming. So see, this first box, how many, what is the size of this first box row? So this row size is 100 pixel. This row size is what, 100 pixel. Okay, so this row expanding in how many pixels, 100 pixel. And this box 2 expanding in how many pixel, 200 pixel. And this box 3 expanding in 300 pixel. What about remaining boxes? How many boxes we have created? We have created 5 boxes. What about remaining? So for remaining boxes, we didn't give the type, we didn't give the size. So what will happen? All the remaining boxes will take default size. Okay, so as you can see, this 4 box and 5 box are taking default size. Right, so these boxes are taking default size. If you want to give size to them also, so what you can do, you can write size for them also, like it will be 100 pixel and like 250 pixel, whatever you want you can give. So how many size I have given? 5 boxes. Okay, so all box having its own size. Okay, all boxes having its own size, right? Okay, and there is one, okay, there is one fractional unit here, which is fr. Okay, so for example, you want to give size to this, what we can say, 2 boxes, which is 100 and 200, and you want your remaining rows should take their own respective size. So what you can write here, you can write here auto. So auto means the remaining space will taken by the other rows. Okay, and if you want like all the rows should take equal size of space, so you can write here repeat function, and you can mention here size. What size you can mention? Like 1 fr. Fr is fractional unit, and here after that what you can mention? You can mention, okay, just wait, let me see it. First we have to mention like how many rows, then what should be the size of each row. Okay, so 3 rows we want to give equal size, one fractional size. Okay, if you want to give same size to the 4 rows, just mention here 4. And 4 rows are taking equal size, but the fifth one is not taking. If you want like all the fifth rows should take equal size, so you will mention here 5. Okay, so 5, all the boxes are taking equal size. Are you understanding? Okay, after that we have grid template columns. Okay, now here we have to mention how many columns we required. How many columns we required to design this. So you can mention those many columns. So what we will write here? We will write here repeat function, and we want column here like 3 columns 1 fr. Okay, so it is coming like this. Okay, so these are expanding in 3 columns, but if you want like it should expand in 2 columns, so it is expanding in 2 columns. If you want like it should expand in 1 column, so it is expanding in 1 column. Okay, and if you want like it should expand in 5 columns, so these all are coming in 5 columns, right? Suppose if you want to give gap between each column, so what you can write? Grid gap. Okay, so gap is coming between each box, but we want to create such layout. So for creating such layout, how many columns we required? 3 columns. So we will write here 3 columns. Okay, 3 columns we required. And how many rows we required? Basically we required row 1, row 2 and row 3. 3 rows we required. So here we will mention, instead of 5 we will mention here 3. Okay, 3 rows, and we required 3 columns. Now once we have done this, we have to write items property. Okay, so on items what we can mention? Okay, so we have some items properties as well. And this is one of the important. This is what I have taught you about the parent property. But without children property, you cannot create such layout. So you should know the children property as well. Okay. So this is what children grid property. Okay, so what are the children property we have? So first of all, we have grid column start. Grid column start. So here we have to mention like from which line to which line your column is going. Okay, from this line to this line, this column 1 is expanding, means row 1, like first box is expanding from this line to this line. So we will mention in grid column start. I will tell you, don't worry, but try to remember this property which is grid column start. And there is another property which is grid column end. Okay, means your column will start from here and where it should end. It is starting from 1, and this is 2, this is 3, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Means where you want to end it. So it is starting from here and it should end with 3. So this is how you will mention. Grid column start with 1 and it is starting with like 4. This is 4 number now. So it is ending with 4. So you will write here 4. I mean starting is 1 and ending point is 4. So your column will look like. And if you will mention here point something like this, like my column is starting from 1 but it is ending with 3. So you can mention here starting with 1 and ending with 3. So your column will expand till here. Okay. Now we have another property which is, this is what children property. Children property means we can apply it on boxes or items. Okay. And we have grid row start, column start, and column end. We have grid start, grid row start. Okay. And then we have grid. Are you guys not sleeping? Please confirm. How many of you are not sleeping? Are you guys listening? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So here you will mention grid row end. Suppose this is line. This is, I have line. This is line 1. This is grid line 2. And this is grid line 3. And this is grid line 4. Okay. Just forget about this right as of now. Okay. So this is your grid line. Now what I want a design. My box should expand this much. Okay, my box should expand this much. This is what box 1. Box 1 should expand this much. So what I will mention here, I can mention here column start. Column is this. These are the columns. These are what column. So my column is starting from 1 and my column is ending to which line? Can anyone tell? It is starting with this line and ending with
3.
3. And one more thing, let me tell you guys. For example, if you are learning here in this live class, right? And if you are speaking and if you are giving your contribution, so when anyone watch the video on YouTube or any HR will watch the video by any chance, so that person can analyze like how many students are actively learning here in this class, because this class is not restricted to you guys only, but this is what open source class means. Everyone can see like how much knowledge you have, whatever you are learning, and you are giving the answers clearly and properly, means anyone can see like this particular person is having good knowledge in front end or in any particular technology. If someone want any recommendation for particular profile, so definitely like that person will be selected, that is doing active participation. Hope you are understanding what I'm trying to say. So whatever you know, try to express and try to speak so that everyone can see like you are also actively learning. Okay, let it be. Okay, so this is what start, and where it is ending, it is ending here. Okay, column start is what, it is starting from one column and it is starting this box ending it 3. So this is what 3. Okay, and what about row? What about row? Who will tell? Row starting from
1.
1. Please try to speak, guys. Okay, so this is ending with ending with
3.
3. Okay, so starting with 1 and ending with 3, right? So this is how we can get this box. So this is just a general idea I'm giving. Okay, let me just remove this. Okay, next is what? Fifth property is grid. Okay, second is what? Like fifth is what? Grid column. And this is what? Shorthand property. Okay, means here you can directly mention grid column start and end. Both you can mention. Here you can mention start and end. Both. And the sixth one is grid row. Okay, so this is also shorthand property. Here you can mention the starting point as well as ending point. Okay, from which line it is starting and from which line, at which line it is ending. Okay, so we can use the shorthand property as well. Okay, so what I will do now, so in order to get this layout, so this is what line 1. Okay, this is what line 1, L1, and this is what line 2, this is line 3, and this is what line 4. I'm talking about grid line. So what I will say, box 1 should start with box 1 column. This is what column grid. So box 1 column should start with L, means from 1 to 4. Expand box 1. Okay, so what I will do, I will call the box 1 uniquely. Uniquely means I will use ID here. ID is what? Item 1. So here I will write dot item, okay, not dot, hash item 1, and here I will write grid what we have to write, grid start, row start, not row, but we will have to write column first. Column is what? 1. Okay, and grid column end. So where we have to end it? 4. So it is taking complete width. It is taking complete width. So somehow we are getting this one layout. One box is adjusted. Now what we have to do? Okay. Now we have to, let's suppose this is what? This is, let's keep the second row same. And what I want to expand this box 5. So what I will do, I will just write here item which item 5. Okay,
4.
and here I will write grid column, and we can write shorthand property as well, starting with 1 ending with 4. So this is what shorthand property. Okay, so what you are writing here, this is what is start point, and this is what end. So this is how we write shorthand property, and this is how we can achieve this layout. Okay, and if you want your this second box should expand from 1 to row 1 to item 2. Okay, so as you can see, these are what grid line means. This is line 1, this is line 2, this is line 3, and this is line 4. So if you want this box 1 should take this much space, so you can increase it. Means it is starting with box 1 and ending with box 3. So that is also you can mention. Okay, so grid column starting with 1 ending with 3. So it is coming like this. Okay, but in order to, okay, that layout we will try to write tomorrow in tomorrow's class. If we will like expand this box 2, means we need to give the we have to adjust this also, grid template rows and columns. But anyway, like today we achieved this layout, and tomorrow we will try to achieve more layouts. We will learn more properties as well. Okay, so in today's class we have finished some properties of container class and child class, children class. Okay, and in tomorrow's class we will try to implement each property. Okay, and we will try to implement different layouts as well. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining the class. Okay, should I end the meeting now, or do you have any doubt? Okay, so let me just end it.